It's a super fight in Australia. Dan Tom here with MMA Junkie to help you break down the main event for UFC 284 between Islam Makhachev and Alexander Volkanovski. Makhachev, since suffering his lone pro defeat back at UFC 192, has since reeled off 11 straight en route to capturing the lightweight title, following in his mentor's footsteps Khabib Nurmagomedov as far as dominantly taking that path to the title. But when it comes to divisional dominance, well, nobody can question Volkanovski, who, even though he debuted in the lightweight division where he overall in his career is 5-0, has won, 12 straight in the UFC, and most of those, yes, in the division that he reigns at 145 pounds. Alex, however, will be taking a big step up this Saturday when he meets Makhachev for the lightweight title. At the time of this video, the odds makers and public are siding with the Dagestani lightweight champ Makhachev in the neighborhood of minus 365 with a comeback on your underdog, the challenger Volkanovski, in the neighborhood of plus 300 via Tipico Sportsbook. Now, I don't disagree with the favorite here, but I will warn anybody that's outright discounting Volkanovski, particularly for his size. MMA, martial arts in general, is a game of kind of stylistic matchups, and just because you're bigger doesn't mean you're better. In fact, grappling with a smaller fighter or grappler, depending on who you ask and what their style is, well, it can be more difficult in the sense that that smaller grappler, if they're capable, can set a pace that you might not be used to or might not prefer keeping. In other words, if Makhachev isn't able to bank some 10-8 like rounds domination with the grappling, or obviously, of course, get the finish within those first 3 frames, well, things could get very interesting down the stretch. Luckily for Makhachev, he's not just a big, strong grappler, though. He does things that I always preach in my analysis, the unsung hero in all martial arts, or most martial arts, I should say, which is wrist control. Whether it's defense, offense, using it to advance his engagements, set up strikes, or submissions, Makhachev is one of the finest examples, I should say, of wrist control practitioners in MMA. For that reason, amongst others, I am leaning toward him here, spoiler alert, but I do think this fight could play out much more competitive, and I do not think anybody is crazy for taking any proverbial shots at the betting window on one Alexander Volkanovski. But for gifts, stats, and all my analysis, as well as pathways to victory for the underdog Volkanovski, you're going to have to check out my in-depth breakdown over at MMAJunkie.com, where you can find results this weekend.